The sun dipped beneath the horizon, casting long shadows across the dense forest. The air was thick with the scent of pine and earth, and the evening chill settled into the underbrush. Birds had gone silent, and even the rustling of leaves seemed to fade into a quiet, unnerving stillness. Alone in the woods, a small form stirred, barely a whisper against the vastness of the wilderness. A German shepherd puppy, no more than 3 months old, huddled beneath a thick brush. Her fur was matted, streaked with dirt, and her once vibrant brown eyes were now dull with fear and confusion. She had been abandoned here, left to face the wild. The cruelty of the world she couldn't understand. Her tiny body trembled as the last traces of warmth from the sun disappeared. The puppy tried to lick the mud from her paws, but her little tongue could only do so much. She had no strength left to do anything than curl up into a ball, trying desperately to preserve the little heat she had left. Every distant sound, every rustle in the leaves, sent her into a state of heightened alert. What was that? A predator. Another human coming to take her life, like the ones who had left her here. Her stomach growled. She hadn't eaten in days. There was nothing here for her. No mother to nurse her, no familiar hand to feed her. She had once known warmth, comfort, and love. But now, all she knew was hunger and fear. The puppy whimpered softly. It wasn't a loud sound, barely audible in the vast wilderness, but it was enough to stir the leaves around her. She didn't understand what had happened. One moment, she had been playing with her siblings in the yard, chasing a ball, wagging her tail. The next moment, she was thrown into the cold embrace of the forest, left alone with nothing but the trees and her own confusion. Her tiny heart beat rapidly as she tried to rise, her legs shaking beneath her. She stumbled and fell, her sides scraping against the rough bark of a fallen log. Her cries were soft but filled with desperation. A plea for help, for someone to come, for someone to care. But there was no one. The forest swallowed her cries. The night came quickly. The woods that were once inviting during the day, now the dark, unfamiliar world. The puppy tried to find shelter, curling up against the roots of a large tree, its thick trunk offering some protection from the harsh winds. She shivered, her body too small to fend off the cold. Her eyes flickered with exhaustion as she fought to stay awake, but the pull of sleep was too strong. She drifted in and out of consciousness, each time hoping that when she opened her eyes, she would see someone. Anyone. A face that wasn't a shadow, someone who would take her back to warmth. Morning arrived, though the little puppy hardly noticed the shift in the sky above her. She was so tired. The hunger, the cold, and the fear had drained her energy. And even though the sun's warmth reached through the trees, she didn't have the strength to seek it out. Her ribs ached, her stomach growled louder, and the dry taste of thirst clung to her tongue. But something changed that day. The brush rustled nearby. The puppy's ears perked up as she opened her eyes. She couldn't tell whether this new sound was friend or foe, but it was something. She lifted her head weakly, trying to look through the tangled undergrowth. A figure emerged from the trees, tall, human, walking toward her slowly. The puppy's heart skipped a beat. Could it be? Could it really be someone coming to help her? The figure crouched down, eyes soft with concern as they gazed at the little creature trembling before them. The puppy flinched at first, too scared to trust, too cautious to believe this was real. But the figure didn't move toward her aggressively. They simply knelt in front of her, offering a hand, slow, careful. The puppy didn't understand what was happening, but she felt something stirred deep inside her. A tiny flicker of hope. The hand was close now. The puppy sniffed it cautiously. The warmth of the human skin seemed inviting, even though she had been taught to fear. She hesitated for a long moment, her body racked with pain and uncertainty. And then, something deep inside her said, "Trust." Her small body trembling, the puppy moved closer, nudging her snout toward the outstretched hand. The human smiled softly, but there was sadness in their eyes. They gently stroked her head, and the puppy closed her eyes. The sensation of kindness, something she hadn't known in what felt like eternity, it was too much for her. Too much to comprehend, too much to accept. The puppy nuzzled into the human's palm, feeling a surge of warmth spreading through her. She had been so sure she was going to die alone in the woods, abandoned by those she trusted, but now there was hope. It was fragile, fleeting, but it was there. The person lifted her gently, cradling her against their chest. The puppy's body was limp, too weak to resist, but in this moment, she didn't want to. She was no longer alone. She had found someone who saw her, who heard her silent plea for love. The person whispered softly, "You're safe now, little one." It was a promise that the puppy would never again be abandoned, that she would never know this kind of loneliness again. And for the first time since she had been left in those cold, lonely woods, the puppy felt a sense of peace. As the human carried her back through the trees, the puppy nuzzled deeper into their arms. Her journey was far from over, but for the first time she knew she wasn't alone. She had found someone who would love her, someone who would protect her. And as they walked away from the woods, the puppy's body, though weak and frail, began to heal. The love she would receive in the days to come would make her stronger. But in this moment, as she lay in the arms of the person who saved her, she found something even more powerful than strength. She found hope.